name is Diane Christian, and I am the co-founder of the Anya Project. And you are watching the first in our video series for Dear Wonderful You, Flip the Script for the Next Gen. And this is a collaborative video series with 3 organizations, and today we have a panel of 3 amazing women who are going to talk about the collaborative process and the goals for this project. This project is specifically meant for upcoming adoptees, the next generation, and also for fostered youth. First, I want to introduce to you a member of our panel who is Kimberly Mckee, and she is the Assistant Professor for the Department of Liberal Studies at Grand Valley State University, and also the Assistant Director of KAAN. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I'm so excited to be part of this conversation.
Thank you. We are too. Next, I want to introduce a great friend of mine and also the founder of the Lost Daughters, Amanda Transue-Woolston.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to see you. And then finally, my co-founder for the Anya Project, Mei-Mei Ellerman, who is also a resident scholar at Brandeis Women's Studies Research Center.
Absolutely delighted to be here, looking forward to this project and looking forward to the conversation.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and start with Kimberly. I want to ask you about both yourself, your organization, and how you came to collaborate on this project.
Sure. So as Diane kindly introduced, I'm an assistant professor at Grand Valley State University, but I'm also the assistant director of KAAN, the Korean American Adoptee Adoptive Family Network. And I came to KAAN when I actually was doing my master's degree. I first was introduced to KAAN in 2007. I was a master's student working on my thesis, looking at why Korea still participates in international adoption. And so I was really interested in some of the sessions that KAAN was having that year. That year also marked me first attending the ICA gathering in Seoul, Korea. I really was excited about the first International Korean Adoption Studies Symposium happening that summer. And so I really actually came to sort of adoption and this community through my research. And so when I wear my other hat outside of my researcher hat, I call it my KAAN hat. And in 2011, I had the pleasure of joining the KAAN Advisory Council. KAAN was also going through a transition and a shift. Stacy Schroeder, who is an adoptive parent and a sister of an adoptee, came onto the helm as executive director, and as part of that, she really wanted to make sure she was hearing the voices of the community, and so she formalized the Advisory Council. Currently, it's a majority adoptee council, which is really exciting to see. KAAN is very much purposeful in trying to listen and honor the voices of adult adoptees. And so to be part of this project is kind of amazing. It actually started off when I saw something that Rosita Gonzalez, who's part of Lost Daughters, had posted something on Facebook, and 9 days ago I sent off this chain of emails, and so it's really great to see everything coming together so quickly. I have to say I admire the work of both the Anya Project and Lost Daughters for both Dear Wonderful You as well as the Flip the Script project that launched the set of interviews at regional news stations last fall. So it's a pleasure to be here and represent KAAN this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you so much for those compliments. I really appreciate them. I want to go ahead and next talk with Amanda. Again, the same questions, how you became involved in this project, and also more about what you do with the Lost Daughters.
Okay, well, I'm the founder of Lost Daughters, so that's naturally kind of my way into this collaboration, but really Kimberly and Rosita, their idea of starting a video series for youth and families to help educate them about what it's like to be adopted and highlighting the voices of adoptees really started this, and I'm happy to be a part of it. Lost Daughters was kind of the launching pad for the Flip the Script movement, which was, it started as a hashtag on Twitter that was intended to categorize all adoptee voices together in the month of November, and for National Adoption Month. Can we make it easier for people to find adoptee voices in the sea of the dominant narrative of pre-adoption and tax credits and barriers to adoption? What about post-adoption? Because that matters just as much. Adoption is only the beginning, as one of my supervisors in post-adoption support once said. So that was a very successful campaign. Just on the news stations alone, we reached about 30 million households. And so I think it's only right that we continue that momentum, and showcasing how powerful the adoptee voice is once we get speaking and people are listening to us. And so this video series to me seems like a natural partnership and another extension of that powerful movement.
Absolutely. Mei-Mei, if you want to speak to the same question.
Yes, well, being involved with the Anya project and Dear Wonderful You already brought together numerous writers and contributors, and I think that what's so amazing is having 3 different organizations working collaboratively and in harmony together, because our outreach is going to be immense, and I think that we're going to just have a huge impact, because each one has a slightly different perspective. We have different audiences, and what I find especially exciting is the fact that these videos are going to be showing once a week, so that it's almost as if we're going to be establishing a dialogue with a growing audience, because I'm sure that the word is going to spread, just the way Flip the Script ended up having so many followers, and Lost Daughters also. I think that, and KAAN obviously already has a huge number of followers. I think that by working all 3 of us together, that we are just going to have, with just like this immense tree with branches that reach up and out and down in all directions, and they will be there, these branches will be there to support all those who reach up a hand and want to pluck a leaf from whatever branch seems to resonate the most with them. So that's what I find exciting. I find the collaborative aspect and just the whole scale, raising the scale in terms of our outreach. So I'm absolutely thrilled and very, very excited to be working with both Lost Daughters and KAAN.
And I thank you, Mei-Mei. I echo those sentiments. It's extraordinarily exciting collaboration, and to work on something so positive with so many incredible people. It's just thrilling to be part of. Amanda, I wanted to ask you if you could talk to what your specific goals are. When you heard about this project and we all kind of jumped in together, can you reflect a little bit about what you hope the outcome will be from this video series, and also tying it into the social media movement?
I think this project, especially with the merging of the missions of the 3 groups that we have here, is going to allow Lost Daughters to branch out a little bit. Right now, we serve as an adoptee-centric space. And what that means is that our content is designed to appeal to adoptees and to be read by adoptees. So we'll write about anything. You know, some of our authors might write a letter to adoptive parents, but it's not actually intended for adoptive parents to read, although they might. It's for adoptees to benefit from maybe the catharsis of reading such a letter. And so this, we'll get lots of emails and questions from people saying, write something for first parents, write something for adoptive parents, give me parenting advice, and we don't naturally have that as a part of our mission, our goal, because we see adoptees as an underserved community. But our authors actually do have a lot of insight that they could give to a broader audience of people. We don't necessarily write things for children right now, and so if we can reach younger generations and also a broader a broader audience through a video platform, that will allow the wisdom of our authors to reach more than just adult adoptees, and also reach adult adoptees in a new way.
That's a great point. Kimberly, or I think Mei-Mei, do you want to talk about goal setting as far as the Anya project goes, and you personally?
Yes. Well, maybe I think what pulled me into the Anya project was the fact that I've always been very concerned about the younger generation and how we as adult adoptees can both be models, share our experiences, be of comfort, be supportive, and also just reach out to them in a way that's very, very natural, and which is at a level which responds to their needs at the moment, whether they're age 11 or whether they're age 14 or 16 or even older. And so for me, the exciting part is reaching out to the younger generation, especially because I've had, as a co-founder of Chinese Adoptees, adoptee.com, the blog that we have, which is called actually One World, and which serves Chinese adoptees, but it's read by adoptees of all ethnicities and across the world. And I think that this is going to allow us to reach a far greater number of the younger generation. But it's not only that, because just as with Dear Wonderful You and Lost Daughters and also KAAN's work, I think that even though it's there is a target audience, that just the way the authors of Dear Wonderful You themselves discovered all sorts of things about themselves in the process of writing their letters, and we hope that parents will buy the book, that young adoptees will buy the book, but also that parents will buy all three books, and that they will also obviously follow the videos. So yes, we are targeting the younger generation, but I think that adoptive parents have so much to learn from us through their children's eyes, and probably through the feedback which we hope that their children will share with them. I mean, sometimes they will, and sometimes they won't. I mean, I think that some young adopted and fostered youth are going to hold the space as something quite sacred and quite secret and personal for themselves, and that others will actually share the experience, or at least maybe feel more at ease in terms of voicing certain issues or asking certain questions of their parents, which they might otherwise not feel not entitled to, but they might not feel that they have they don't have the sense of security, let's say, or the safety. Whereas I think that by showing a video every week, we are going to be building a momentum, we're going to be building a movement. So all three organizations together, I hope, are actually going to end up by building a movement which is going to go absolutely viral. That's my hope.
That would be great. We hope so. And we hope every young adoptee and every fostered youth who watches it feels really embraced by this experience. Kimberly, do you want to go ahead and continue?
Sure.
About goal setting?
Yeah, no. You know, I think what's exciting about partnering and the collaboration with these three organizations is recognizing the similarities of all our communities, right? Whether it be just reminding ourselves that we're valued, that we're beautiful, that our voices are legitimate in these conversations, regardless, you know, if we're domestically adopted, internationally adopted, or fostered youth, is critical for us to be having this wider movement. And overall, we're just seeing this adoptee renaissance with adopted and fostered individuals finding their voices at the center. So whether it be you're seeing more adult adoptees and fostered individuals conducting research on these topics, or writing about them in their own memoirs, anthologies, on their blogs. We're changing the conversation. And so I'm really looking forward to having this video series serve as a new avenue for us to reach out to this broader community. I think we've seen the success of Twitter. So, let's reach out to youth in these new ways through YouTube videos. Too, as a way for them to realize that we use the same tools as they do, and we want to communicate in all of these different methods to make sure that they know we're here listening to them, too.
No, thank you. Right, and it is it's a collaboration of 3 organizations, and it's also using multiple platforms. So it's I'm just really thrilled to be a part of it. One of the central things that will happen as we go ahead and I get to interview amazing members from all 3 organizations, the Anya Project, the Lost Daughters, and KAAN, is each of the members who I interview answering the sort of central question that ties it all together. And I want to go ahead and ask that question to each of you. And Mei-Mei, we're going to start with you. And as you know, the question is, what would you say to your younger you?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question for me because I always knew that I was adopted, even before I could understand the concept of being adopted, because my mother told me the story of my adoption as a sort of fairy tale, as a bedtime story. And then I was brought up very briefly in the United States, and then we went to Europe, and we lived in many different countries. So I was always the only Asian child. I was always put in local, mainly public schools, and very clearly the only adopted child. And so for me, being adopted was absolutely not an issue at all. But looking back, not so much on my childhood years as on my adolescence, I realized that probably the thing that I would say to my younger you is that it's not necessary to be a perfectionist. I always tried so hard. My mother was such a relaxed, such a loving, all-embracing person, and she didn't expect me to have top grades. I kept changing languages and cultures, and she was just thrilled that I was learning different languages and fitting in, adapting. But there was something inside me that felt that I really had to get it right. And I think that there was this sort of inner drive, inner pressure, which all of us, or many of us as adopted individuals feel. And at an unconscious level, it could very easily be because we want to be safer. In my case, I felt totally safe, so I really don't think it was that. But reading other people's letters, reading other people's blogs, etc., this issue of doing things right, not asking certain questions, not saying certain things because you don't want to hurt your parents' feelings, that all of that ties in together. And it to me, it sort of comes under the umbrella of acting appropriately, acting your very best, shining both academically and in other ways, so that there's total acceptance. I never viewed it that way before, but as I look back, I think that is something that I would definitely underline, because I think that the whole idea of perfectionism can be so destructive. It can put so much pressure on a young person, and really at times really push them to the limit, so that if they don't perform, and usually these standards are self-set. These are not standards that are set by the parents or set by somebody else outside. These are all driven from within. And so that would be my recommendation, is just to be more relaxed, to be oneself, to feel at ease with oneself, and not feel that one has to please. Because we are beautiful as we are accomplished as we are resilient, we're amazing. So that's what I would say.
I bet your younger you, and your you now, they're pretty amazing. So thank you for sharing that, Mei-Mei, very much. And Kimberly, if you want to speak to that same question, what would you say to your younger you?
Sure. I've been thinking about this all afternoon in terms of what I would say to my younger self. And I think it would always be follow your instincts and your passion. So when I was in high school, I actually had responded to this call for papers for this edited volume that ended up being Yellow Girls, edited by Vicky Nam. And I was about probably 15 when I wrote this piece, and it was submitted, and I didn't tell my parents. And I talk about what it's like being an Asian American adoptee, right? And reflecting about the microaggressions that I was experiencing in my own family. And it's out there in the world, and it exists now, right? And so when I'm thinking about what I would say to my younger self as I was doing it, like, keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Don't stop searching to learn more, whether it's about sort of other adoptees' experiences, whether, for me at least in my own personal case, about Asian American history. Just keep doing it. Don't let anyone stop you, because your hunger for knowledge shouldn't be something that is denigrated. It should be applauded. And if it's not your family applauding you because maybe you can't have those conversations, then find someone else. You know, join some of these wider online communities, because there are people there who value your voice and want you to be heard. And at the same time, when I think back to my own experiences, it would be recognizing that searching for your biological family is something that's very individual. So don't let anyone tell you that you have to search right now, or why aren't you searching? You're a terrible person for not searching, or you should search. Don't you know that they might die at some point? And all of those things. It's none of their business. And feel empowered to tell people, my search is my search, and it's not your search. And so while you'll gladly take their support and their help, you know, and it's okay. You know when you're ready to search, and you know if you don't want to search, and that's okay. And as somebody who, you know, I had searched for about 5 or 6 years, and I thought it was over before I ended up being contacted by post-adoption services for my agency just a few years ago, that, you know, everything happens for a reason, and so just don't feel pressured either way. And then just, I think overall, more importantly, you are part of a broader community. And I think coming up sort of when we were still using dial-up internet, right, to find out information about both adoption, the Asian American community, and everything, is just seeing sort of how that's transformed within the last 5 to 10 years. And just remembering that, you know, Google all the questions that you have. Somebody will have written about it. And don't stop. Don't give up. You know, this is your time to be heard.
Thank you. That was brilliant advice. Thank you. And finally, Amanda, what would you have to say to your younger you?
I actually wish I had a time machine so I could. There's so much you learn as you get older that if you had just had the answers back then, you think, what if? In my youth, I spent a lot of time trying to find myself through other people, being very worried about what other people thought of me, and not so much exploring my own natural gifts and talents, and sometimes feeling very burdened by my gifts and talents, because other people would, you know, I used to love to sing, so other people would sign me up for singing, and you have to do it because that's what you're good at, and I didn't want to because I was too busy finding myself by being interested in boys or dating, and I feel like I wasted a lot of my time on things that weren't helping me build a self-affirming identity. And so I think a lot of my mentors were pushing me in the direction of embracing things that I was good at, and I was, you know, terrified of rejection. I would love to tell my younger self at all ages that if someone rejects you, you're going to be okay. You've lived through it once, you're going to live through it every time that it happens, and you're going to be fine. And that should not guide your being afraid of being rejected by someone should not guide every decision that you make in life. You should not have to be perfect in life to avoid someone rejecting you or making a comment that feels like they're abandoning you. And that you will be okay if someone critiques you or that you're not good at everything. Because I would go from being perfect to completely shutting down because I couldn't handle everything that I put on myself. I would tell myself to give myself a break. It's self-care is important. You don't have to be the captain of every team. You don't have to have the right answer all the time, and you can ask for help. That's a skill that I had to learn when I embarked in my 20s, and naturally things got harder with college and work situations. The type of work that I was doing got harder as I got older, and I had to learn to ask for help. And that it's asking for help is a strength. Asking for help when you need mental help. Help is a strength. It's not a sign of weakness. If you need to talk to a doctor about medication, if you need to demand to see a therapist, and your pastor's not. I got to go talk to my pastor when I was depressed, but it's okay to ask for more if you need mental health help, and if you're not getting it, then keep asking until someone helps you. So these are all things that I wish I could have said to myself if I could.
Thank you, Amanda. Absolutely, what incredible points about seeking mental health and making sure that your mental health is in a safe and cared for place. And having come across my Facebook feed in the past few days, young, beautiful, incredible women who took their own lives, I think that it's a very sad but also a very important note to end on tonight. I want to thank you all for being here and for your time, and tell you what a true honor it is to work with you. You're incredible role models, and I hope tons of people watch this video. Also, if you're watching, we hope that you'll join the conversation. And you can go ahead and leave comments on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then also, please engage us in conversation via social media using the combination of hashtags #FlipTheScript and #4 the next gen. And I think that's it. Anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
I think I'd just like to add one thing, and that is that whereas I was so isolated as a young person, but didn't really suffer from it at all because I just had Italian friends and French friends and so forth and so on, the great gift that the younger generations have of adopted and fostered youth is that there is a huge community, a really enormous community to support them, so that they really need not feel alone, and they can reach out to their peers in so many ways, as well as reaching out to their elders, reaching out to adopted and fostered adults who have walked in their shoes and who understand them, and who we hope can find the right words and the right approaches to make them feel empowered, and to give them that strength, especially in moments that are turbulent, that are difficult, and also to inspire them and to excite them. And I absolutely agree that the most important thing is to follow one's passion, and that's what I always said to my students was, whatever it is, follow your passion and you can't go wrong, no matter what anybody else says.
Thank you. Thank you, Mei-Mei. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Kimberly. I look forward to working with you. For those of you who are watching, if I didn't say this before, please leave us comments in the YouTube on our YouTube channel, and then also I will put in their details on how each of the women that you see today, you can reach us via social media. So goodbye for now, and thank you for watching.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.